I hit start and then stop, I think.
Well, so start recording. Tim is recording the call.
Oh, it is recording. All right, good. I got real confused because I did the old double click like an old man. Anyway, episode 61 of Current Gen Podcast. My name is Old Man Tim, even though I'm not even the oldest on this podcast. I'm here with Dan, who's the relative youngest guy of the podcast. And then Derek.
Second most mature.
He's our second most mature, definitely the youngest. And then Derek, who is our oldest by far. I mean, just by so much, by so many years.
In all aspects, right?
In every aspect. That's right. Teague, explain why the beard is still here. I was not expecting that would last throughout this whole week. What's going on? How's it feeling?
I just look good.
So really, it's just he stared at himself in the mirror for about 2-3 hours and was like, "I look good."
Well, I already proved that I look amazing, like with a shaved face. Now I just want to prove that I look better than Tim with.
Sure.
Dude, if that's all you need to hear, I'll tell you right now, you look better than I do with the beard. Like, don't find other hobbies, is what I'm saying.
What's after that, though? Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like, no facial hair, then just wear hats all the time, because Tim likes to rock the hats all the time.
I'll probably grow, I'll probably put like pubic hairs on my face. Random spots.
That sounds gross. I mean, I'm
growing those out too, so you know.
Wow. That's the information I needed today, so thank you for that. I needed to hear that. All right, so there's been a new game released this week. We're going to talk a little bit about our first impressions of Returnal. Haven't had a ton of time with it, but at least can give you some first impressions, kind of like we did last week. We're just trying to at least give you our thoughts initially when we play some games. And then there was a state of play, although it was really just a state of Ratchet, let's be honest. But we'll talk about that.
State of Ratchet, yes.
State of Ratchet. So we'll talk about that. And then anything else that might pop up. I'll look through some of the news headlines here to see if anything is significant. But Teague, let's start with you.
Pokemon Snap did come out, by the way, just to kind of mention that.
Pokemon Snap is out. Yep. Yes. Twitter's advertising that to me like crazy because they know I follow all kinds of industry folks, and they're always advertising to me for the big games. I see Returnal and Pokemon Snap ads nonstop right now. But Teague, let's start with you. What are you up to? What are you playing? What are you watching? What are you doing?
I don't remember.
Did we wake you up for this?
No, I literally just got home.
Oh, well, you've been playing some Returnal and but other things. I'm sure there's something. Rocket League. You had a status update on Rocket League that you posted on Facebook.
Yeah,
give us the Rocket League. This is a big moment for you.
Yeah, I think when did the game come out? Like 2014,
2015.
2015.
Yeah, it's been a while.
All right, so I've been playing consistently for 6 years, and I finally, for the first time ever, in ranked 3v3, I hit Diamond status. So when I first started my career, my long 6-year career, I was consistently in gold, probably the first couple of years. I don't know exactly when, but I finally made it to platinum, and I've been stuck in platinum for at least 3 or 4 years. And I didn't even realize I was getting close to diamond until I looked up and was like, I'm plat. Was it Plat 4, Division 4? I'm like, whatever I was like, how did I already get all the way up here? And then
I think there's 3 for each.
All right, so Plat 3, Division 4.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
And
does it not reset every season? I thought it did.
It does, but based off of your past and then how you perform when it resets, it'll pretty much put you in the same thing. So I was like a platinum, whatever.
So if anyone's unfamiliar with this, the rankings go from, of course, unranked. So when the season resets, you need to play at least 10 games in that particular competitive field to get ranked. And then it goes bronze 1 through 3, silver 1 through 3, gold 1 through 3, platinum 1 through 3, diamond 1 through 3, champion 1 through 3, grand champion 1 through 3, and then supersonic legend.
Jesus.
So those are the rankings that they have. So that means that Derek just hit the essentially like the upper half of the rankings. So like platinum's kind of like right in the middle.
Wow, you just like
and then
depressed me
diamond.
that I'm not even that good.
Dude, I think you should be excited about that because I think the volume of folks who get ranked that high goes way down. Once you get past, I would assume once you get past gold, the volume starts to go down. There's not as many platinums, and then of course I think diamonds pretty rare, and then yeah, so that's really impressive. The highest I've ever been ranked is in the low platinums. So I've never, and a lot of times if I restart a season and I'm kind of knocking the rust off, they usually rank me in the high golds, and then I might bump up to platinum maybe if I keep playing. But that's usually as high as it ever ranks me. So that's impressive to get up to diamond.
My only problem with the game is I still think they do too much on their ranking on how your team plays. Like, the reason I say I get annoyed with that is because a lot of times, like, my style of play, and I've shared it before, is I'm very much team focused. So if my team sucks, I could have, like, low points, low output, but it's because I pass the ball in the middle and they don't do anything. Or they don't rotate, they don't make saves and stuff like that. So I always get frustrated that they put so much weight on wins and losses and not on how you play the game. Like, I feel like, and I know this would be hard for them to do, but I really wish they would do it. I feel like if they would do a better job of, like, taking points away from people that give up goals, like if they are totally whiff and the ball goes in, they should lose points. But I know they'll never do it. But that's my frustration, is they reward some players that don't do anything. They just sit back in the goal and the ball ricochets off them and they get all these points and they don't play the game right. And then they hurt the people that are playing it right, playing good, but because the team sucks, they get hurt.
I'm wondering the only way around that is to play solo. That's the only way around that.
I was gonna say, I wonder if with ranked they like, obviously you can go in solo and join a team and do ranked, but I'm wondering if like the expectation from their end is like you're going in with friends, so you're clearly working
you as a team.
Yeah, like you're going with friends, so you're actually talking to each other and communicating, and because I mean I don't want to talk to randoms.
I like the idea of them building into their little algorithm, however they have the whatever it is, the ranking go up or down after a win or a loss. It'd be nice if they factored in let's just say that you're playing a game, Derek, and you guys lose 4-3, and you had 500 points, and the other two teammates had less than 100. It'd be great if they could see,
that's my point.
Okay, let's penalize the guy who played well way less.
Like, and I even have unfair.
And maybe they do. I don't know if they do
like that. They ranked me up to Diamond 1, and I was on the winning team, and it's in my screenshot, so I didn't hide it. And I had like 140 points. I didn't do it. Now, points don't always gauge how good you play. That's why I said it gets a little tricky, because I can have a good game, meaning I didn't whiff on any balls. I played the ball, but the ball never really came into my area. Like, because I play soccer the way you're supposed to play it, and that's if the ball's on the left-hand side and there's already a guy there, I don't go chase it. I play in the middle or on the right-hand side, waiting for the pass. If my teammates suck and they whiff every 5 seconds, it's not going to come to me, and I'm not going to get an opportunity. Or like I was using the example of, if I do play the ball in the middle, they're not there to shoot it, or they whiff or whatever. So that hurts me. My point is that they ranked me up on a match that I didn't perform well. I had 140.
Your team wants, they're going to give you some points. You must have been real close to ranking up.
So I'm okay with them giving you points for whether your team wins or lost. I'm okay with that. I'm saying I don't like the amount of weight on it. Like, there's been times where I've been like, clearly my teammates suck. And I'll tell you right now, when you're in gold in the bottom tier of platinum, it's really hard to level up because the quality of random players you get is really bad.
Very hit or miss. Yeah.
Gold is like whiff central. There's a ton of kids that whiff. And it's like,
hey, I whiff, okay? Don't talk badly about me.
I played with you recently and you're not good.
Oh, Mr. Platinum over here judging.
I lost the magic. I lost the magic. Yeah. Yeah, well, that game still rules, so that's cool that that's still holding your attention. I like the way they're supporting it, too. I think they're doing a good job of supporting it. When it went free to play, it could have crashed and burned, but I'm glad they're doing a good job with it.
I do agree with Derek, though, with the people who just don't play it like an actual football, where, everyone's just chasing the damn. It's like, what do you do? I'm clearly right in front of you, and you come up, like, around me, and you're hitting the ball. Like, do you not understand how soccer works? Like,
yeah.
Like, it's just so annoying, and it's like, I more recently I have larger gaps in when I've been playing it, but when I do hop in, like, yeah, I'm a little rusty at first, and then I kind of start getting acclimated again. But it's just like, since it's gone free to play, it's very noticeable how many people are just like, I think it's just people that are like trying it, and they just want to do the tricks. They want to get up in the air and like hit the ball and do that stuff. More focusing on that, I think, than actually try to like work as a team and like kind of coordinate and do the things that you're supposed to do. It's, I don't know, it's just annoying, but
still one of my favorite games. But
still one of the best games.
No, I don't know why I was like, I don't know what I'm playing. I've been playing Nier Replicant.
There you go.
What else?
Which you started during our last episode, which was fun.
Yeah, so I'm like 4 hours in. It's not like I'm super deep in.
That's what she said.
Well, I'm deep in her.
Oh my gosh. That wasn't even like an innuendo. That was just...
It was just a straight up comment. It was just straight up comment. Shout out to Kyle though, because there was that one comment I think in your thread, Derek, where he was like, "So leave it to Derek to be super into the more mediocre Nier game, and then talk shit about Automata, which is clearly the superior game. So this guy over here, there's swimming in 7 infatuation." I was like, I just thought that was fun.
It is definitely better, Kyle. You win with that one. You're totally right. But Replicant is a pretty cool game.
Like, I don't hate Kyle, but can we not like suck him off right now? Like, he's not that great.
I mean, I'm not doing that. I mean, geez, get your head out of the gutter, sir. All right, Mr. Pervert over here.
I know. Just back to back. Yeah.
Just picturing Kyle with boots.
What are your thoughts on Replicant? Because when I first played it, especially that first village area, I know that it quickly expands to other areas. Especially that first area, I was like, oh, this is not going to be a looker. But I have seen moments and characters and stuff that are like, okay, this does look pretty cool. The character design and the elements are cool. So visually, I would describe it as a little hit or miss, but mostly it's appealing. It's not an ugly game. It's clearly an older game they've upgraded.
It's like a touch up of what you experienced on the PS3 and 360. Yeah. They didn't go in and even the guy who made the game even said this is not a remake or really even a remaster. What do you call it? An upgrade? So they like upgraded the visuals minor, but they also upgraded
it runs smoothly.
Experience. They upgraded the experience as far as how it plays, and also they add in an ending that connects the game with Automata or whatever it's called. Right. So let me address you guys and Kyle boy. Which I already responded to Kyle, which I did it in all caps to make sure he understands.
Obviously. I mean, how else do you speak on the internet, Derek?
All I know is that when you
just
go all
caps,
make sure I take you seriously when you do that. Like, I know you're about to be honest and truthful, and I can really believe what you're about to say.
I mean, come on. Until he starts, AF, bro, YOLO, lulz.
Listen, my days of YOLOing are probably behind me because I'm really focused on the bro lifestyle.
Okay, please. I just can't anymore. It literally hurts my soul with your
Who steers this ship? Is it you or Sasan? Who is driving this thing?
Neither of them. They're both in the back seat. They're both in the back seat.
I think we're both like spiritually connected that we just do it simultaneously. Like it's like we feel it. Like we're like, okay, YOLO's getting a little old, bro. So I actually went to dinner with my friend tonight, and she was like, so I meant to tell you, I really appreciated how many times you and your little buddy used bro and how you used it. Like my favorite football player is Rob Brokowski and all this stuff. And she was laughing at how stupid we are. She's like, you guys are ridiculous.
You know what thing is not dying away with you guys though is the all caps this with arrows pointing up. Like that's sticking around. Obviously.
Full stop. Full stop.
Full stop. Full stop.
It's just it needs to full stop is what it needs to do.
For those of you who are listening who don't know what we're talking about, Derek has a special way of communicating on Facebook where he goes through. They're basically characters, and he plays different characters at different. Yeah. So. And
they're
if
all
you don't
they're all variations of my trucker days.
This is not a show that you need to go catch up on. You don't need to. It's fine.
There's also the religious wrestler. God bless, brother. That's the religious wrestler character.
Yeah. I did have a God bless phase where I was spelling God wrong. Yeah. So
that's a sin, right? Probably.
It isn't. That's a different God. That's why I don't spell it the other
way. When I saw that, I always heard it in Hulk Hogan's voice.
God bless, brother. That's how I talk in my head is, God bless, brother. Right. All right. So getting back to the topic. So here's the deal. It's not that I like the more mediocre version. If you actually compare the versions, the things that I hate about Automata, I'm not saying they're not in Replicant, but I have not run into them yet. And that's, I don't like the little top-down shooter bull crap. I had one part where I fight with the main boy character, top-down. There's a couple areas. Yeah. It's like real quick. Yeah. I didn't like the actual like spaceship, like bull crap, like Atari crap.
The shmup shooter.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Those aren't my favorite either. I agree.
But I will say this: this is what I like about Nier, and it might get old or whatever. The combat's fine. I'm not really good at those like fast action games, so I do have to put it on easy mode because I could probably get better. Just like I studied Dark Souls and all that stuff and got better, but I have zero interest in. So I will just say that.
Play however you want to play, bro.
Yeah, because I actually just like... Here's what I like about Nier. What I absolutely love about Nier. And it's the same thing I liked about Dragon Guard and Automata, and that is the female characters in the games have the same voice actor and their same attitude, even though they're actually different characters. And all she does is basically insult everybody, cuss them out, say the most disgusting things. In fact, one of the things that I like about Replicant way more so far is the banter, and I'm early on, so I haven't experienced her a lot, but the banter in the first, 30 minutes that she's in the game with, what's his name, Grimoire?
Yeah, the book.
Yes, Grimoire. And he's hilarious. I am Grimoire, and he's
the introduction to him was pretty fun, I thought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he keeps doing it with her, and she's like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. And
I like that.
So they banter back and forth, and I really like that. But I like how rude she is. I don't remember which one.
I thought you were going a different direction with that.
Yeah, I did too. Well,
when you were like, I like that every female character, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. But you went with the
you thought I was going to talk about upskirts. I do.
Why would I think that, Teague? Why would I think they might go that direction?
To be fair, Automata was half advertised that way, but I digress.
Yeah. But I don't remember which Dragon Guard it was. I think it was the very last one that was released, and I bought it on the PS3. And
I watched the video recently. Yeah,
absolutely loved the way the female character interacted with the dumb dragon or whatever. He was super super nice, hey, what are we gonna do today? And she'd be like, shut the fuck up, you're an idiot. She would just call him names and make him feel like crap, and he would completely ignore her and just be like, okay, blah blah blah. And I don't know, I love that sense of humor. So I really appreciate the humor of the game. The combat's fine. I was paying attention to what Kyle was saying, so another shout out to Kyle, that he finished the first playthrough of Replicant, and he says the story starts off slow, which it is. I mean, it's basic right now.
So did Automata.
But it kind of unfolds and gets a little bit crazier. So I actually ended up downloading Automata on my PS5 because I've already beat it once. but I wouldn't mind maybe jumping back in and seeing the second playthrough. But I'm gonna stick with Replicant right now. But
Nice.
we also have Resident Evil literally coming out in a week, and I just don't game as much. I'm super busy, so so that I've been enjoying it though. I honestly I didn't think I was going to. In fact, I told Tim, I was like, I think we did this backwards. Like, why are you buying Returnal, which I was more at the time, I'll talk about it later, interested in. And Nier, I absolutely hated on Automata because I think it was during when it came out, and I was just like, okay, I felt like I had to finish it, and I wasn't enjoying it.
It's a long
but I
game
feel like
there's so
now, I feel like I made the right purchase. I feel like Nier is more what I'm in the mood for than, and I'll talk about it.
I'm the exact opposite because I see the appeal of Nier. I think there's some quality to it. Way more interested in what Returnal has to offer at the moment, just with what I'm interested in gaming. So, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Dan, what about you? Anything you're playing or watching these days?
So I'll do this as my impressions of Pokemon Snap because I did buy it.
Nice.
Because Renee actually, the new Pokemon games, Sword and Shield was like her first actual main Pokemon game. So we played that together, and that was cool. But like she actually was super into Snap back on the N64. Gotcha. So she actually
I think I'll end up getting it at some point. It looks too appealing to my kids. Yeah. I can't imagine we won't have a copy in the house at some point. So
exactly. And I mean, if you liked the original, and that was the only version of that game ever, they never made a sequel to it until now.
I thought it was okay. It was a Hollywood Video rental. You guys remember Hollywood Video?
Yes, I do.
It was it was a game I rented from there for a couple of weeks.
Well,
I thought it was fine.
Well, that's the thing. I have no comparison because I never actually played the original. But I mean, I've certainly seen videos, and like it just seemed very bare bones because the tech just wasn't there to allow there to say be a lot of Pokemon on the screen doing like really dynamic things. Like they did some stuff, but it wasn't as dynamic, and there just wasn't as much going on in one section as you're kind of going on the you're in a cart and you're on rails, which is the same.
I think they had a unique idea, like the idea of just being a photographer out in the wild trying to capture these creatures. And it being all so the idea I thought was creative. How does this one hold up? Is it good?
I mean, I think it's fun. I like Pokemon. Pokemon's pretty near and dear to my heart. I mean, I definitely played Red and Blue back in the day, so I enjoy like the world of Pokemon and catching the pocket monsters as they call it in Japan. So the concept of taking pictures of them is a bit different because you're not like battling anything. You're just taking pictures. But I think it's kind of like that aspect of like wanting to catch things, but you're doing it with pictures and you want to get the best picture of that Pokemon to get more points. And essentially, so each map that you can go on, there's a day and a night version. So there's two different versions, and each version will have different Pokemon. And then as you progress through the game, you'll get more items. So just like in the original, you can throw like the fruit at them. And depending on what Pokemon it is, like if you hit them with the fruit or if you throw it near them, they'll do different things. So then that will be kind of like a unique reaction that they have. And then you get extra points if you snap the picture at the right moment. They introduced, and we haven't hit it yet, but it's in the trailer. There's like these glowing spheres that you can throw out. So Score Bunny, which is the fire bunny Pokemon in the trailer, it shows like if you throw one at him, like he's doing like these fire kicks. But then if you throw the glowing orb at him, they're like glowing fire kicks, which then will give you more points because now
you can add to the image by doing that.
Yes. Yeah. Gotcha. You're adding to the moment with these items that you unlocking as you're progressing through the game, to maximize the points of the photo that you're taking in that moment. The only thing that I don't like so far, and the couple of video reviews that I had watched, they mentioned this, is the scoring system is definitely a little all over the place. Obviously it's I'm assuming it's kind of difficult because you just can't really predict the kind of shot that someone's going to take, and you kind of have to
there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, you have to sort of kind of write like, all right, well, this the Pokemon's doing this, or this much of the Pokemon is in the shot, it's worth this many points. But like, there's definitely times where you take a picture and the Pokemon's like right dead center, but like maybe they're not super close, but they are doing something unique. But it's like then you look at another picture and it's like you just get more points because the Pokemon's really up and close and just like a nice clear shot. So it's like the scoring system's a bit all over the place. But I think just the general concept of like, again, just like the original, if you like the original, you'll definitely like this. It's the best looking Pokemon game I've ever seen. But again, it's obviously a very specific and unique.
Like gyroscope with the camera. Can you aim it like that?
Or we're just using the Pro controller.
Okay.
So it's just we're playing on the TV. So it's just
I didn't know if in handheld mode. I don't know if in handheld mode it lets you actually, because it's first person perspective, right?
I don't think you can. It shows that you can use the Joy-Cons obviously, and you can do motion. So I think you can turn with the Joy-Cons and all that. But I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I guess maybe then if you did on dock, you could. I'm not really sure. We're just playing with the Pro controller because that's just easier. So
I got you.
But yeah, I mean it's fun. It's a quirky little thing, and we'll just kind of see if like it gets more advanced as far as like add-ons and stuff as we go along. Yeah. Also a huge pet peeve of mine, and considering Game Freak has like an insane amount of money and so does Nintendo, why isn't this game fully voice acted, Tim? Why isn't it fully voice acted?
Who's not voice acted? The Pokemon?
No, so there's like a professor. There's always a professor, Tim. There's a professor.
So there's just a lot of reading, like every other Pokemon game. I got you.
Yeah, there's cutscenes where they're voice acted, and then it'll exit the cutscene, and then there's text that you're reading for that scene, and it's not voice acted. And I'm like, I mean, seriously, like, just dish out a few extra bucks, guys. You have the money. You literally have billions of dollars. All right.
Dan, that's your opportunity to then read out loud and perform it for your wife. That's what you can do.
Still sure. Like Zelda, like they won't. I think it's just.
I think that's more of like a tradition thing at this point. I think they just don't want like
with Pokemon.
Yeah, I think.
Well, no, right. But the people characters I'm trying to think in the new one. In the new one, there's well, I guess everything's not voice acted in the new one, but there's definitely like the most voice acting that they've ever had. I don't know. I just I considering they're just such a huge company, they have the what is it like as far as like how much money that
You're saying they've got the resources to do it. You're not sure why they don't.
Pokemon as a franchise is the highest grossing franchise out of any sort of that it's the highest. I remember they mentioned that. I wonder
if there's something to like the I don't know if it's historical or if it's just like a habit or what, where they're like, yeah, these types of games, these moments in these types of games, we don't voice act these. People just read these. Like I don't know if there's an old school mindset, if there was some capacity with the processor where they couldn't have it trying to activate too many different pieces of media all at once because they need everything focused on running the game. I have no idea, but. It's a valid question.
I think it's just about money. I think they just voice acting is becoming more prevalent, and voice actors are maybe starting to cost more, and they just don't want to do it. So it's fine, whatever. just a pet peeve, slight pet peeve. But otherwise, I finished Falcon, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I finished that.
I just started that. I'm on just finished episode 2. Just started that this week.
So I finished that during the week. Really fun. Some solid fight scenes. I mean, it feels like a Marvel movie that's kind of just spaced out in hours, to be honest.
I was talking to my coworker and buddy Jake about this and how it just feels like a Marvel movie, maybe 2 Marvel movies with how 6 episodes. Yeah. But the quality's really good. The writing and acting is great. And that whole opening episode, especially that opening flight battle sequence, is so well done. Like it's just really exciting and really well shot. It doesn't look cheap at all. So right away, I kind of knew like, oh, we're going big budget show here. This is awesome. Yeah. So it was very cool. Very
certainly a different angle than WandaVision. It definitely feels more like what the Marvel movies kind of leading up to when they started exploring like space, like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, like kind of like more that like, just basic Earth stuff that was happening, kind of more along that. Whereas like WandaVision,
first 2 episodes feel like a Captain America movie.
Yeah. And that pretty much kind of stays throughout. There's no like nothing too weird really. No WandaVision type level stuff.
That was definitely weird.
But as far as like when it ends, like much like with WandaVision, how that ended, and there's definitely sort of like things that it's going to be sort of transferring into the next movies. A couple things that happen towards the end of this that it's like, oh, okay, that's also impacting the universe. Just to be as vague as I possibly can. So a couple of things happen that it overall impacts sort of the future of what's going to be happening. So, but yeah, I thought it was fun, just different than WandaVision. Both had their pros, so just different.
Yeah. Little piece of trivia. Speaking of my friend Jake, he told me this, that the guy who plays, if you haven't watched it at all, this isn't really a spoiler. It's just a character's name, and you'll meet him. The guy's name is John Walker.
Yes.
He's a very pivotal character.
Yes.
But the actor who plays him is Kurt Russell's son in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you look at their faces, you can actually kind of see like, oh, I could see that. You could see the resemblance there.
Dude.
Yeah, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son, I think.
Dude, the shot when they introduce him and the camera comes like panning up the stairs. Yeah. And he just looks so goofy, so unbelievably good. Yeah, he just looks so. But then, like after that, there's just some scenes where he's in, and it's like fairly normal. Then he doesn't look as goofy. But for some reason, that one shot,
dude,
he's super goofy. I don't understand why, but I don't know. I don't know if it was just the angle. They just came up right at his goofy face, but
it could have been.
I don't know. But yeah, so that's fun. I started watching The Boys also.
Dude, what a weird juxtaposition between those two.
Yeah, very, very, very different. Very violent. Unbelievably
it's interesting. Fun. The Falcon and Winter Soldier has an aspect of a public-facing superhero addressing, like, this is what it's like, and answering the celebrity of being a superhero more than the Marvel movies normally explore. The Boys is all about that. It's all about the celebrity and dark side behind the facade of being a superhero. Of course, they take it to the extreme, and I love it for it because it's so dark and it's so messed up. But
that show is effed.
It's great, man. Are you in season 1 of that show?
I finished both. I watched them. I was watching them during work, which I mean, or listening. I was listening and a little bit of watching. But like
that's
Jesus
what the song
Christ.
is, right? The dwarves say, "Listen while you work." I think that's the song.
But like. It almost kind of gave me it kind of gives me like the Walking Dead vibes of like, okay, well, like who's gonna freaking die next? Because like I'm getting attached to this person. Should I even bot? Like it's just like Derek
watched this show, right? You watched The Boys, haven't you?
Yeah.
Did you like that or not really?
No, it was one of my favorites.
Yeah. Did you watch both seasons or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's I at first, I guess originally when it came out, people were like, "Oh, this is super cool," and I was kind of like, I mean, it's like a show about random superheroes that's like not part of Marvel or DC. I don't really care. But like then I watched a couple of clips on YouTube, and it was the one with the plane scene, Tim. Yeah. And like I was like, "Oh my God, this is just Jesus Christ!" And I was like, "All right, I'm just gonna give this a shot." So, and I'm glad I did.
The main non-super character, Huey.
He's
speaking of famous people's sons. That's Dennis Quaid's son, Jack Quaid.
Yes. Which was funny that you were mentioning Russell Crowe because they're kind of like actors that were around the same time, but
Kurt Russell, and
Kurt
Dennis
Russell,
Quaid. Yeah. Carl Urban is great in that role. I love him as Billy Butcher.
The Butcher.
The Butcher. He's great, but I actually think.
You what?
I want you to notice that I changed my background so I replaced it perfectly.
Okay, there you go. Girl. No upskirts. I'm very proud of you.
And it's just you and your new girlfriend. But I think the person who steals the show in terms of like the performance that is so captivating and terrifying is Anthony Starr as Homelander.
Oh,
that guy!
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That actor is so good, and I don't know if like sometimes you see an actor. And I think, let me look it up. Let's see how old he is. He's not super young, so he's obviously been.
I don't recognize him in anything else. Yeah,
but he's not a superstar. Like he's not a hugely recognizable. Okay, so he's a New Zealand actor, and he's in his 40s now. He's 46.
Wow.
Okay. So he's been around for a while. He hasn't broken into the big time too much. Maybe some people know what he's from, but The Boys was really his big break, and he is crushing it. So sometimes I feel like some actors don't really find their groove until that right role hits, and then all of a sudden, boom. So he's so good as Homelander, dude. He freaks me out. Like he's so scary. Every time he's in a scene, I'm like, what's he gonna do?
It's like
he's so good.
It's like Superman, but like and obviously there's the story arcs with Superman where he goes bad. So it's like it's like that, but like a mixed with like a child, because he has that childlike wonder or not wonder, but like
he has a certain childlike characteristic that he likes. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because like obviously with his story, like how he like become as he gets older, but like kind of like his origin, like he's a kid and kind of what they do to him and like how they sort of evolve him, and like he's still a child on the inside. So then there's the person working at Vought, which is like the big evil corporation that the Seven, which is the team of superheroes, works under. There's was it, I forget her name now, Madeline maybe, I forget, but that's sort of the person that he communicates with, that he like kind of doesn't want.
Elizabeth Shue's character.
Yeah.
In the first season,
yeah. But like she's kind of like the motherly boss figure of sort of like the heroes, kind of like trying to keep them together and like maintain order. So, it's just I don't know, dude. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
It's a very original story. I think it was a graphic novel first, right? Very.
Yes. Yeah.
Very intriguing take on Justice League and Avengers. What that could be like if it were in a, I would say, darker version, but more realistic version than you see in a lot of comics.
I mean, they definitely go
a lot
very
of
much
corruption and
they that stuff. I think they could. I think it's tricky because like Disney still wants to maybe kind of be Disney and like not have it totally be like R, more leaning towards R, even though Deadpool 3 is going to be R, so I guess they're fine with that.
But that's fun R. I think there's a difference.
Sure.
There's some R that's like disturbing, and the Boys has some fun moments, but it really leans into disturbing.
But like the disturbing parts, obviously, don't go that full. Like, don't go full that angle, but like kind of take some of the crazy stuff, political stuff that happens in this, and maybe mix a little that into the Marvel universe, and that could like add a nice little layer of something,
Yep.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that show a lot. I don't recommend it to everybody because you need to have a stomach for it, because it's uber violent. It's not something to watch with the kids for a lot of reasons. But
again, it's the Walking Dead thing. My wife just stopped watching. We just stopped watching Walking Dead after a certain character died because like she just couldn't handle it anymore. If you're the kind of person that gets attached to characters, that show might be tough for you. So
I quit that show after the introduction of Negan, which is quite deep into the show. I was already losing interest, but I just kept pressing on, waiting for it to recapture its first 2 or 3 seasons of magic, and it just never did. And then that element, at first I thought it's fine, it's just kind of dark, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, that was really messed up. Like the way they did that, it just messed with me too much, and I didn't want to watch anymore. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'm watching Falcon Winter Soldier. I've already talked about Longmire and stuff. I did watch the Mortal Kombat movie, and I did enjoy that movie a lot. I thought it was a ton of fun. I think it's one of those movies, just like Kong and Godzilla. If you have the right expectations, you're going to enjoy it. If you expect it to be the next Citizen Kane, then what's wrong with you? Like it's not meant to be that. So
yes, exactly.
It accomplished what I wanted it to. It had cool characters and set designs and special effects, so the visuals were all there. It had some really fun fight scenes. Sure, a lot of it's contrived, but that's what you want. You want it to be cool and slick, and it had some, pretty big stakes that they raised, and you wanted the good guys to win, and it did all those things. And it set me up for being interested in whatever they do next, a sequel movie or a miniseries, whatever comes next. I'm in. So
would you agree that the third act was rushed? Because that's kind of
for sure.
That's what Derek and I were trying to lean towards.
Yeah, there's a scene where they're kind of in this in-between place, and then all of a sudden they give out assignments, and then they just appear next to them, and the quote-unquote their version of the tournament begins. That was certainly kind of out of the blue, but still good. Still enjoyed it.
So
yeah, it did make me jump into Mortal Kombat X to try it, and I was quickly reminded of one key thing. I don't really like fighting games anymore. Like at one point in my life, I did enjoy some Street Fighter 2. I enjoyed some Killer Instinct. I even liked some elements of Mortal Kombat. But that as a gameplay loop for me is just not interesting. And so even trying to play through the story mode, which I kind of texted you guys to troll you both about how bad it was. It wasn't really the story mode. It's mostly that I just don't like fighting games. I mean, like, that's what it comes down to.
Derek didn't even say anything. He was that pissed off. He was just that angry.
Yeah. I feel like that for a video game story, especially for a fighting video game story, when you think back to like the quote unquote stories they tried to tell in stuff like Street Fighter, it was hilariously bad. It was like a couple of pictures and then it showed a picture of Ken getting married at the end. It's like, what just happened? So they were really, really dumb. So clearly what they've done in MK9 and on is a huge improvement, obviously. Yeah. And if it were a different style of game, if there's a scene early on where Raiden and what's the other guy's name? They're fighting off a bunch of enemies. Yeah. So they're fighting off a bunch of enemies with their weapons and I'm doing all these special moves and stuff. That's when I was like, ooh, I would play that game. Like, give me control of one of these guys taking on hordes of enemies and let me upgrade my... All of a sudden, I wanted an action RPG in that moment. I didn't want...
Well, so then it shifts into the Mortal Kombat Shaolin monks.
Right. Yeah.
I want more of that. Is that good fighting or is it just
that was PS2,
version?
Right?
Yeah, Shaolin Monks was like an action
adventure
RPG. It was more of an action fighter, like third person. Sure. And it had like built-in like combos, and then you could finish the characters off and with fatalities, and it was a really good game that a lot of Mortal Kombat fans wanted a sequel, and they never got.
I'll have to go look at that. I don't think I've
it was
even remember that one.
It was Liu Kang and Kung Lao.
Okay.
Super fun.
So the lore is interesting. The movie got me interested in like, I want to dig into this a little bit more and see kind of the different versions and what is the story the video game's telling compared to the movie. And so I might watch some YouTube videos of it. It's just that gameplay is just
Here's what I
thing.
think you should do if you actually, I mean, if you don't want to play them, you don't want to play them. But I think you should buy a copy of Mortal Kombat on PC. I jumped in a couple days ago and started replaying my Mortal Kombat story mode, Mortal Kombat 9, and it's super cheesy. But the overall story ends up being pretty cool. But, like, what you should do is you go into the options and you turn it to easy, but then you turn it to one round. And it makes the fight shorter.
Oh, that would be better.
Yeah. I think you can do that on story mode too.
Just to experience the story at least.
I realized, here's what slowed me down a little bit too. I realized that, so you start MKX with Johnny Cage as your main fighter, and then it shifts you over to another character, Kotal Khan, to take over for the story to continue. So, and I like that. There's a time jump there. And I like story-wise, I know I trolled you about it on the text, but I was actually kind of like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I want to see what happens. But when they threw me into like fight after fight after fight, and then another character walked up and like talked trash to Kotal Khan, and then it goes back to the side view to start a fight again, I was like, I don't want to do this. I just don't want to keep doing these fights. And a big reason is because, number one, I'm not very good at them, and I know that it's going to take practice, and I have to shut up there. I'm going to have to go in and start learning combos and start learning the basics.
I think you can turn down the difficulty on the story mode also.
Yeah,
on the consoles.
I just had it on normal, so I was doing okay.
Yeah.
I was winning the fights, and then so with Johnny Cage, I found his combos to be quite easy. I just hit pause, looked at some of the things, and I was able to win all those fights. Plus, it's the beginning of the game. They don't really take it hard on you at the beginning. And then with Kotal Khan, I could not win with him. I think I won the first one.
He was a little tough to use.
And I lost. And then it said I ran out of fight skips. And I was like, well, I don't want to learn how to fight with this guy. He's not fun. Does that make sense at all that it's not fun? I don't know.
Yeah, no,
turn it on easy.
He was a new character in 10. In 11, he's back, but I think he's actually more fun to use in 11. Still not one of my favorites, but like he was definitely way more fun to use in 11 than in 10. So
stand by what I said last week as we talked about Mortal Kombat. Some of the best character designs, as I was looking through all the characters, the character select, and even their designs for their bonus kind of non-MK world characters, Alien and Joker and Jason and all that. I mean, just designed really well. And MKX is 10 years old now, right?
Is it?
Maybe not that old. Maybe I'm thinking of MK9. I feel like one of those is old.
So 11 came out in 20...
That 3 years ago? Was it 2020? No.
Yeah. Either that or 20.
Okay, so it's 6 years old. Mortal Kombat X is 6 years old.
Okay. Yeah, 11's got to be like 2019 then.
Yeah.
All right, so it's old enough, and so I just meant that to say visually looks really great and all that stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So there you go. MK9, which was just Mortal Kombat, the reboot, that did come out in 2011. So that's 10 years old. There you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, all that to say, I tried it, and it's not necessarily something that I'm super into as far as gameplay goes. But the Mortal Kombat world, I totally see the appeal. The lore, it's all very kind of cool and B-movie in the right ways. And I know people take that as an offense a lot of times. It's not. I don't mean that as an offense. I actually like that.
I mean, I think it says a lot that in a fighting game that you're interested enough in the story that you're like, man, I wish I could kind of just like speed along these fights because it's just not totally my thing to at least just see the story, regardless of how cheesy it is sometimes versus other times. Like that I think that says a lot for sure.
Yeah. They've definitely upped their game. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
playing that, and then the one game I did want to talk about before we give our thoughts on Returnal, and then maybe some of the state of play stuff. Playing a lot of Immortals, Fenyx Rising still. Dude, this game is kind of becoming, as I look back on 2020, it's becoming one of my favorites of 2020. I couldn't objectively say it is one of the best games of the year because there's a lot of things you could point at to say it's got these shortcomings. But you know how certain games, well, Derek, you know about this, how a certain game just clicks with you even if everyone else thinks it's in the 7 or 8 out of 10 range? This game just clicks with me, man. Like, the combat's really fun. It's very challenging too. Like, you get to some of these dungeons and you have to fight the Wraith version of all these heroes back to back to back to back to back. And I won't give the names of the heroes in case it's kind of a story spoiler a little bit for some folks, but at first it kind of holds your hand and it's very easy. This game gets tough quick, and it upscales enemies with you, which I know annoys some people. It doesn't really bother me because now every encounter still has a bit of a challenge to it. But now that I've upgraded a ton of stuff, I've got some awesome armor and I've upgraded all my skills and my health bar. All the enemies are glowing all kinds of different colors, whereas before they were just kind of this bland, kind of dull red as like lower level. Now they're all really tough. So anyway, I'm loving it. It's got the whole Ubisoft. There's tons of stuff to clear on the map.
Yeah.
The story is still kind of silly, tongue-in-cheek, funny at times, but mostly just fine. But I'm not playing it for that. I'm playing it because it's gorgeous. I love the art style. Exploring is fun. Finding new secrets, and I just got a new mount, which was kind of hard to catch, but I got that. It's just fun. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm really digging that game.
That last DLC that they released looked cool.
Yeah, it's like a dungeon crawling style.
No, the one before that, the like ancient China or whatever it was. Like yeah.
So there's a couple of story DLCs with Fenyx, and then there's the Eastern Realms. I think it's called Eastern Realms.
Okay.
With Chinese mythology, and then there's this newest one where it's a dungeon crawling style. It's an isometric action approach to this world. Brand new story, new characters. Looks like probably multiplayer. Just kind of interesting shift for the game. I haven't tried that yet, but I love this game. It's so fun. It's kind of my go-to at the moment. But I'm also playing, and I'm curious if you guys have played any of it and what you think of it yet. I'm also playing Returnal. Although, to be fair, we're recording on a Friday night. This game came out today. I played it a little bit last night because I'm in Mountain Time, so it unlocked for me at 10 p.m. So I played it for about an hour before I had to go to bed because, like Derek, it's been an incredibly busy couple of weeks for me. We've got a pretty big project we're trying to land in the month of May. So I'm very, very busy. Haven't had as much energy or time to play as I'd like to. But that being said, I did try Returnal for about an hour, and I know Derek's going to call me a pony for saying this, but I don't know. I am finding this game to be, like, to me, it's the first game that really feels like, oh, okay, now we're on a next-gen console. Here we go. Like, it's the first game that really feels that way for me. Everything from they're utilizing the controller that's unique to that system to the visuals. Everything about it just kind of feels like, hey, this is a step ahead of where we were last gen. I'm not connecting it to PC gaming. I just mean consoles alone. This feels like one of the first real steps forward. Now it's got some shortcomings, sure, but I really dig it.
You have not played Outriders enough.
I played Outriders a little bit through the opening couple of training things. Ugh, I don't know.
It's actually legit fun.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like Outriders. Colin loves Outriders, so I should love it too. But I digress. Returnal, I think, is great. I love the setting. I love the kind of Prometheus-esque visuals and environment
I think
that
the
you're
best
in.
way to describe it is it's hauntingly beautiful.
Thank you, Dan. That's what I needed. I needed that.
You're welcome.
That's exactly what.
That's actually one of the things I can't stand about it. I don't like that Prometheus sci-fi.
So you don't like the Alien series?
No.
There are other biomes outside of that one. So that's where you start, but it does change a lot when you get to different biomes. But I haven't gotten there yet. I only played it for like an hour. It's just what I've heard about it. That being said, I think the action feels great. I love the speed at which your character moves around. You just feel really nimble as you move around. Definitely a Housemarque game where they're used to making fast-moving shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Usually side-scrolling or top-down type shooters. Well, now it's in a 3D space, but I think they've brought that same kind of speed and precision of a shmup into this kind of third-person action game, and I really dig it. I like that they don't overwhelm you right away. They kind of introduce some things to you slowly. Here's your weapon. Here's some easy enemies. And even when you first die, that's when you first see the title screen.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think you had to die in that particular fight, so.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you can beat them.
You can beat them.
Okay.
But
so it's like Dark Souls, that tutorial boss, so to speak? Okay.
Yep. So anyway, really like it. I've unlocked, gotten a few weapons, and then of course the run restarts and you lose that stuff, but over time you do gather things like ether and things like that you can use to permanently upgrade things. So again, it's a roguelite where you have to unlock certain elements, but you also have to be okay with on this run I hope that I get
yeah.
Dark Souls-esque, but also a little bit of rogue
Souls.
A little bit. Well, it's more like Rogue Legacy than it is like Dark Souls, because
I know.
You
it was supposed to be a joke, Tim. God.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
You probably thought I was joking. I really did look up flights to Colorado, and they were a round trip for a little over $100. I was like, I could go see him, beat the shit out of him, and then come back home for like $115.
Listen, if anyone needs somebody to do a round trip to beat their ass, it's you, Teague. All right, so shut your damn mouth.
All right. I did not pick up that you were joking. I thought you were trying to say it's actually Dark Souls. Okay. All right. It's not like Dark Souls, really. It's more like a Rogue Legacy where it procedurally generates. It procedurally regenerates the entire map. So like rooms that you go in, it's very room-based or like area-based. It'll reset, a la Hades or any of those kinds of games. So I like it so far. I'm very impressed with how it plays, how it looks. Kind of the weird mystery of what's happening to you. Like right away, you start finding your own dead body, which is kind of a shock to your main character, which was cool. Yeah. So I'm hoping there's some.
I called it.
No, I called.
I called it.
No,
I was like, I know it's me.
I'm hoping there's some cool story to this, and it's not just some. I hope they don't just finish the story and it's still kind of nebulous. What in the world just happened? I want them to give some kind of definition to, okay, here's what's going on.
Sure.
Because I know a lot of these games can just, like, I remember on our buddy Jeff Widman's recommendation, I played Observation last year. And while that game had some cool elements, by the end and the credits rolled, I was like, what just happened? Like, nothing was explained. It's all very confusing. And I won't spoil anything, but it was not a very satisfying conclusion to that story. They answered pieces of it, but by the very end, it was like, okay, so who was that? What just happened to me? And why did I make that decision? I don't understand that at all.
Use your imagination, Tim.
I guess. Or just have to be smarter, I guess. But yes. All right, well, those are my thoughts so far. Very early impressions, very light experience so far with the game, but I have enjoyed it so far.
Derek, do you want to go, since you seem to have mostly meh things to say about it, or?
So I don't have meh. I only played like 20 minutes, maybe a little more. I don't know. It's more just I don't like the setting.
Okay.
And I don't like I know it changes because I get that. I guess what the whole shtick is that you go from like room to room or something like that, and it changes like the setting.
It's procedurally generated, so yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like I just don't like and this is before I played the game, so that's why when people were like hyping it, I was like, I'm not hyped for this. I just don't get into sci-fi stuff, and this is sci-fi, and that's not my thing. And it's
sci-fi. Pretend it's Mass Effect.
Ah, damn it, Tim! I was gonna go there.
Well, I was already thinking that when I said it. That's why I said it's sci-fi horror, which I'm not into. So I never was into what's the games that
Dead Space?
Dead Space?
Dead Space. I don't care about
come on, you're killing me, Teague. You're killing me. Killing me.
So.
You don't like the Alien movies. You don't like Dead Space.
Yeah, so I don't like that. So I'm not gonna bash the game because it's not fair. What I've played of it, I like the movement. I was
gonna say you originally didn't feel like you.
Yeah, based off what I saw, I thought it was
right?
gonna be floaty.
Yeah.
It's actually quite tight. Like it's
very
tight.
precise.
Yeah. So I like that. I only have one gun and I'm not a fan of it. And I did agree with like this tip video I was watching where they were like, the game's so fast paced, like aiming down the sight is kind of pointless. Like you just need to shoot from your hip. So
no, because that's how you start doing alt fire. So you'll unlock that in a little bit. Every gun has an alternate fire mode, and that's where the cool dual shock or dual sense stuff comes into play. Where if you just lightly hold it in, it'll aim, and then if you pull it down all the way, then it'll activate whatever that gun's alt fire mode is. In some case, it might launch a grenade or it might shoot some plasma out in a wave or whatever. So
those are on cooldowns too.
They are on cooldowns. Yeah.
So I think,
I've just found the reason I say I don't recommend just shooting from the hip is because it's helpful especially when you're fighting a lot of enemies or a big boss. You're holding it in halfway for your aiming down the sights, and as soon as your special move reloads, it'll give you like a little notification that it can reload. You just pull the button down all the way, fire that, and then let it back up to halfway to keep aiming. So
yeah. I'm a couple hours in and I'm still getting used to that. It's definitely feels weird, like being in control of how far down you're pressing that left trigger to decide what type of, whether you're just aiming with the regular shot or you're doing the alt shot. It feels awkward because it's just not something I'm used to, because it's not something that many of us are probably used to. That's not something that they've really introduced into many games.
Usually you get like left on the control pad or something to switch.
So but that's kind of what's cool about this controller, that it can do stuff like that. I actually right when I started the game, right when you climb out of the ship for the first time, I actually handed the controller over to my wife, because I don't know if you felt it, Tim, like the raindrops.
Yes.
Was hitting
you could feel it all over the controller, like your helmet.
Yes. Yeah. But it was like, it was hitting her body, so like you could feel, and it was like distinct. It was coming almost from like kind of different angles, and I was like, oh, that's like, I handed it over to her. She's like, oh, that's really cool and kind of relaxing, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, the adaptive, well, that's the adaptive triggers, but the DualSense has some cool stuff going on there with the game, like you had said. The other than just kind of like getting used to like aiming and then the alt firing, the controls do feel good, and the guns feel good. They sound good. They just feel like they have good impact.
Right.
Right
away you can start seeing numbers coming and health bars going down. There's something satisfying about that too. Like you immediately can see the damage you're doing and all that stuff. So I like it.
The aesthetic, I definitely think I think the aesthetic is cool. I like the kind of like bit of horror sort of like vibe to it.
Do you get caught by those tentacles that are dangling? Have they picked you up yet?
I thought they were trying to kill me, but I'm like, oh, you actually almost use it like an elevator. So like you dash from it and there's some ledges that you can get to.
I think if you go all the way up, it does kill you, doesn't it?
Well, I didn't allow it to, Tim. So
same. I panicked and started hitting every button to get out of there. It freaked me out. Man.
But yeah, the environment just looks cool, and it just visually looks nice. The lighting looks really like there's those tentacles with like the blue lights coming off of them that you first see in that first area. That looks really cool. What else? The music is really kind of ambient and just kind of fits the tone of the game overall.
The opening crash scene is pretty intense too. Like they throw you into it right away, and they give you a ton of close of your character and her two different colored eyes and stuff like that.
Just really up close in her face, because they're obviously trying to be like, look at the detail in her face. Isn't that crazy?
I think there's that, but I also think there's something to that. There's something with the eye color. There's something going on that's going to connect to the story later with that whole introduction. But overall, I'm digging it so far.
Yeah, and it's challenging. It's definitely challenging. You can get overwhelmed. So I'm a couple hours in, and there's I've seen about 5-6 new enemy types. Fun fact, don't get close to any of the enemies at all. Keep your distance.
Definitely they all have brutal melee.
Yeah. Well, exactly. They basically will dash at you and just like do some crazy damage. So you want to move around a lot. And then there's the shmup aspect where they're shooting all these like colored projectiles. So like they're shooting that and it's coming at you at certain angles. So you're wanting to dodge them, which you can dodge through them too, and you won't take any damage. So. There's that aspect. But
if they're glowing green, go find the obelisk that's giving them all a shield because they're impossible to kill. I discovered that the hard way. I was trying to fight these guys forever.
Okay.
I don't know if you've been to a room like that where they've had that green glowing shield around them. Have you had that kind of room yet?
Shield? No, I don't think so. There's been some guys glowing green, but they it was more like green particles and they were shooting them at me, but
there was a room I came to and it was really big, and it had a bunch of the first enemies you see that kind of shoot the flat wave.
Right.
A bunch of them. It was a bunch of flying enemies that were coming in, and they would aim at you and then shoot this beam at you really strong. And then there was 2 of the really big ones with the big red tentacles that are harder to kill. So it was a really tough room. And they were all glowing green, and so I would hit them, and I couldn't tell if I was doing damage or not. If I was, they were healing instantly, or I was doing no damage, and I was running around. I was losing health. I was like, what's happening? Finally saw this tall obelisk thing that I could damage and destroyed that, and then boom, their shields went away, and I could take them all out.
That's really cool because I haven't even seen that yet, and I'm technically further in the game. So that's
you're much farther than me. Yeah, that's cool though that they have that kind of stuff in certain rooms. Also, when you're looking at your mini map, if you see a triangle door, it's optional. It's like a side quest. Maybe you can unlock a new thing, new weapon, a new perk for that room.
The gear is cool. Like there's I don't know if you got into the part, and they did show it in a trailer, but there's something that latches onto your arm. Yes, no. Have you hit that yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so there's like stuff that you can add to your suit.
One I attached to the back.
Yes.
And then one attaches to your arm, and I was like, "What's happening?" Oh, I guess she's okay with it.
But it animates. I don't know if you noticed it. Like animates like the little tentacles, and I'm like, "Oh, that's really
running
cool.
around."
Yeah. So look at it on your arm, and you actually see it moving, and like it's just animating freely, and it just looks really cool because it's like it's just suddenly there, and then it just kind of almost like it is a living thing, like just kind of there, and it just I don't know, it's really cool.
If any of you listening have ever played Rogue Legacy or Dead Cells or something like this, a lot of times you'll get a perk that also has a negative effect, and then Rogue Legacy it'll be a trait that maybe passes down from because in Rogue Legacy when you die, basically that person has kids that carry on after them, so you might pass down some traits or whatever. So anyway, and some of those traits are bad. It's like, you take more damage than most people, or it's that you're really slow. Like it depends on the character. Same thing here with, at least so far, what I've noticed with these parasites that give you a perk but take something away too. So it's like, hey, you've got a lot more health, but physical damage does a lot more.
Yeah.
To your, I don't know. It could be whatever.
And there's other systems too. Like there's ether you can get in the game, and then there's these items that you find that I think will add stuff to like your character, but like you need ether to like cleanse it because they almost like have like it's almost like there's poison on them, and it'll say like high, like I think it needs like more ether to get rid of that poison.
If and ether carries over, right? So if you get ether and die, don't you keep that to upgrade in your ship?
I think so, maybe? Yeah. Okay. That's the only thing that's kind of like that's where like with the roguelite stuff, I'm kind of like, I just feel like this would be more fun if it wasn't so like, well, now everything's gone. Like, I feel like a little more should carry over. I don't know. I feel like they would just be more fun if you're kind of like, you're learning from your mistakes and you're carrying some stuff over and just kind of feeling more powerful and gaining some sort of leverage, but that's what the genre is.
That's where it's definitely not a Souls-like where you kind of memorize the map and remember where your body was. This is not that kind of game. This is you do as well as it's more like Hades. You do as well as you can in one run. You have some permanent upgrades and things you can unlock, and then a lot of it's just you're hoping for essentially a good roll. For that procedurally generated map. Hopefully I get a good gun early on or a good perk early on. So it's definitely not the style game for everybody, and with it being challenging, that can make it frustrating too. But I have enjoyed some roguelike games. I've enjoyed Hades a lot. I like Curse of the Dead Gods right now. I'm still dabbling in that one a little bit. Loved Dead Cells. It was one of my favorite games that year when that came out. Loved Dead Cells. So I like some of them. Rogue Legacy I thought was fun and interesting, but I couldn't get super far in it. It gets so difficult so quickly.
It does.
That I kind of lost interest in trying. I know Spelunky I think is similar. I don't know. I haven't played that one too much.
Diving into caves, but kind of similar aspect, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, more on this one as we keep playing it. I'm definitely going to keep playing this one. The plan was for us to record later in the weekend, but schedules just aren't aligning all the time. But we were hoping to get more time with it before we gave you our impressions, but hopefully that's a good start of what we think.
We're all really at our just most aware and acute during Friday nights. We're just completely completely right in the zone, we're just awake.
Just really in tune with the conversation.
I almost fell asleep.
You almost fell asleep?
Did I snore?
For those of you who are just listening, Derek leaned back, closed his eyes, and hasn't moved since Dan and I started talking about our thoughts on the game. That is all right. Hey, let's close.
When it's not a swimming in sevens game that he's infatuated with.
That's true. That's true. Well, I want to close out with Sony did just have a state of play. They announced a few things, like Among Us is coming to the PS4, which means
to play real quick, PS5. I'm gonna go ahead and clock off just because I'm out. Finish the show strong, brother. YOLO, bro.
I'm gonna clock out.
I'm gonna clock out. Okay. Hey, you did good work today. Yeah, you really earned that thing.
I gave
you deserve your rest.
2 to 3 minutes of pure genius content. Good night.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So Teague is out. But anyway, the state of play, they did announce Among Us, as well as they showed a new trailer and kind of gameplay teaser for Subnautica. What was that add-on called? It's like the Frozen
Sub-Zero, Below Zero, something zero. I don't know.
I shouldn't say add-on. Apparently, it's a full sequel to Subnautica. So, and it, for survival building games, my kids loved that one. My oldest son especially. I might actually try it. I might actually give it a shot because now that Valheim's got me interested in at least trying some survival and building games. Although most of them, like I tried Stranded Deep, I've tried The Long Dark. Most, and even just Minecraft back in the day.
Most of them just don't. It's Stranded Deep, Tim. That's what she said.
I guess I kind of set myself up for that one without thinking about it. But anyway, so I might give that one a try. I'm trying to think if they had anything else. There was Among Us. There was some.
It was literally just those two things and Ratchet and Clank.
Okay, all right. So then they went to Ratchet and they showed. So they had like a little bit of an opening. I guess you can call it a trailer, like a little cinematic that opened it up. And then you could tell as the camera shifted back behind Ratchet, I was like, ooh, we're about to see a bunch of gameplay. And we saw a ton of gameplay.
We did.
What I would assume is essentially one of the early levels in the game as some things unfold. And then Ratchet's now on a mission to go do something. And so they have the creative director kind of talking over certain sections of it, but then they also just go quiet and let you enjoy the game for a little bit too. So, and they introduced the new female Lombax.
Yes.
Lombax?
Lombax. Yeah.
Rivet, which we already knew about Rivet because they've put out some news about this already, but we got to see her in action and hear her talk and kind of see a little bit of her part of the story. Yeah. Looks like she's got a hammer instead of a wrench like Ratchet has.
Yep. Couple of new gameplay elements that Ratchet can do.
Yes.
So that apparently wasn't in the previous game, so.
Yes, some of the mobility stuff was definitely not a highlight. Usually those games are very much, you have essentially one jump and eventually like some ability to kind of hover a little bit. This adds all those pieces, and now you can do some wall running and looks like there's a lot more traversal elements than we've seen in previous Ratchet games.
Indeed.
Still lots of guns, crazy weapons. That stuff will be fun. I just think it looks like so much fun. I'm so happy I pre-ordered this one. I can't wait.
It's definitely, this trailer has definitely been the most interesting out of what they've shown. I thought the city was really, it just looked really cool, and just kind of the way he was going through the city, and like dude literally went into a club and there was just music bumping like and I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. He's just like, he just goes into the dance floor and his actual characters dancing and stuff. Like it actually felt like a city that was like alive, and like there were people roaming around. And but I don't know, for some reason I don't see myself getting this though. I'm not interested enough where I played the remake and it was fun, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's like it feels like it's open, but it's not. You're just going down this path, you know?
Yeah, I think it's certainly going to appeal to a certain crowd. I know I'm going to love it because I loved Ratchet and Clank 2016. And I enjoyed the previous ones, but really I thought that was a great, I don't know if it's technically a reboot. I think it was, maybe it kind of was. Because I don't know if it's a remake of the first game or they just rebooted the whole idea of it and reintroduced their backstories. I'm not sure. Anyway, I loved it. Can't wait for this one. I already would have liked this one, even if it was very similar to the 2016 one. But they're definitely including a whole lot of new elements to this. And those rifts aren't just to go to a new area, a new world. There's actually multiple dimensions that are going to be a different version of where you are currently, where you can now traverse a little differently, and also just essentially these super fast teleporters around your existing map. So if you're in a big battle, you might want to zoom up to this angle or that. So they're going to have that element too, which is kind of cool. But it looked very smooth. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. It'll be a fun summer game for
it. It definitely looks like a Pixar movie, right, Jeff? Right?
This actually does, unlike Kingdom Hearts 3, which did not. So.
Okay, well, I think that's fine.
Yeah, sorry, man. It's okay to be wrong. Derek's not here, so I gotta be
just like Colin. I'm never wrong. I'm always right. So,
hey, let's close out real quick with that little. There was a little bit of drama with Colin on Twitter, which was really funny. Where
with Schreier,
our resident hero, our video game hero, Jason Schreier. I'm so glad that he's there to call out companies and be the voice for the voiceless, and just he's out there being better. We all need to be better, and he is being better.
Dude, Schreier is such a little bitch.
Like, he really is. He blocks everybody who challenges him, even a little bit.
Even people that will post screenshots and they're just legitimately, they're asking questions in such a manner that's just like, no, like, seriously, Jason, I'm just like, it's just kind of like a question. Like,
he feels like someone doesn't agree with him, he will block them. It's crazy. So there's that, and there's also he screenshotted Colin's tweets, and so either he unblocked him to go look at it, or looked from someone else's account, or just kept these screenshots like a insane person from a while back. So from last year, these are tweets from last year of Colin's, when Colin was basically saying, hey, all these stories about Crunch are stupid and here's why. That was Colin's take. Like, he was just giving his thoughts on the Crunch stories, and then Schreier takes a screenshot of those either back then to save for later, or however he did it, doesn't matter. He's a baby, and he posted them and pretty much calls Colin out by name, and also talks about how this, and he's so demeaning. He's so what's the word I'm looking for? Not demeaning.
Passive aggressive.
Definitely passive aggressive. But it's one of the, condescending is what I'm looking for.
Condescending.
He's so condescending because he says this isn't also. It's not just that this is going to help you with understanding the story better, but also with basic math. Like, he just has to insult him with this condescending. Like, Colin doesn't even understand math. Is basically what he's saying. So it was all very entertaining, not only because of Jason Schreier himself he's just a caricature of what it means to be woke in the video games industry. He's just so embarrassing. Maybe someday he'll look back and see it. I don't know. But Colin is the opposite of that. He doesn't get embarrassed by anything, and he'll say stuff that I will very much disagree with, but it's his opinion, and I kind of am entertained in hearing him share his opinion. Sure. And he also is condescending, but it's done in a way that doesn't feel like, I don't know how to explain it. He is condescending because Colin is a know-it-all. He always has been. That's his personality. Well, but it's done in a way that it's like, I know this to be true, but you can disagree if you want to. What do you think? Like, it feels a little more like that. I don't know. Maybe it's not that way.
I think it depends on like what he has said in the past. Because so I'm a very sarcastic person. So like when I see Colin say something, a lot of times to me, I feel like it's sarcasm. I feel like he's being sarcastic, but like being serious, but being sarcastic, And it's like, and that's kind of like why people, because on the internet you don't get context. Hence, hashtag a day without woman, all that bull crap.
Oh
Like
gosh.
people didn't understand that was a joke, whether it's a bad joke or not. It's still a joke. He didn't actually mean anything sexist. But people just don't understand context when they just simply read words. They just read the words and they're like, "What? Excuse me?" It's like they take things literally. So to me, it's always just to me. I've always taken what Colin says a lot of times when he's saying those things, and it's like, wait, is he being serious? I think he's being sarcastic, but that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sometimes, but also when he's in a serious conversation, even back in the Beyond days and the early kind of funny days, he has strong opinions, and a lot of times I find them to be pretty accurate and like, wow, he's really saying it like it is. That's good. And other times I'm like, no, I don't agree with your take. Like I hear the facts of what you're saying, and then I hear the way you're interpreting it, and I still don't agree. But it's not, for some reason, it's not as off-putting to me as some folks. But sometimes it is. Sometimes he would piss me off and I would listen to him talk. But there's also the fact that he's not going to block you for disagreeing. He might even like step up to the challenge and debate you on that thing.
Oh yeah.
But so he's a strong personality who doesn't back down, and he has strong opinions, and he's incredibly knowledgeable about the history of video games, especially with Sony. That's why he's good at what he does. And so I don't have to like him all the time to acknowledge he's good at what he does. I don't know that Schreier is good at what he does. I think he's good at getting attention, and he's good at digging up an angle on a story that he already wants to tell. So yeah, I guess that's a skill, but there's something about him that is just so off-putting. I don't know. I think I'm just different than a lot of mainstream gamers out there who find that to be good and find Colin to be insufferable, but find Schreier to be a hero. I guess I just don't get it. But
he might have been better at his job at one point, because I mean, I even remember like right before Colin left, kind of funny. He had that show that he started doing. Colin was right or whatever. And he had Schreier on there, and they were just, chatting and having a conversation. And I remember it being like a good conversation. I was like, oh, okay, these two, they're saying some interesting stuff, and this is a cool conversation. Like, I didn't remember being like, oh, this Schreier guy seems obnoxious, but like, I think lately maybe he's just gotten worse. I don't know.
Well, he's also, and we're all susceptible to this. If you get in a position where you're making a lot of money and you need to stay in the general good graces of the cultural shift, wherever that's going, there's some truth to that, where he kind of has to say what is said by most corporations and big businesses now. You have to call out conservatives. You have to call out executives who make more money than their employees. And you just have to do this kind of stuff to kind of stay in those good graces. I think some of that's Schreier.
Funny that you say that, Tim, because that kind of sounds like what happened with Kind of Funny and Greg Miller and Colin.
Yes. That sounds a lot like that, actually.
Yes.
So yeah, that's just kind of entertaining. You can go on to Twitter to see some of that. If you haven't interacted with Jason, he might not have blocked you yet, so you can go see what he had to say. If you have interacted with him and it wasn't full support of him, you might be blocked already. So beware.
Yeah. Or you might not have ever interacted. Yeah, I don't know if you just said that. You might not have interacted with them at all. And people have been blocked
you.
Yeah. So
also, I loved Colin's take on it. He said something about it, like he's getting called out, and that's it. He's done. You guys can keep your AAA games. I'm out of here. And they said, just kidding. The next episode of Sacred Symbols is coming out at 12. So like, this stuff rolls off his back. That's another thing about a personality like Colin's, is he's got skin. He can take it. So he dishes it out, but he can take it. And I think that's what the fundamental difference. Colin dishes it out. He does. And sometimes I think he's wrong, but he can also take it, and he can do the back and forth and have a healthy disagreement. Or at least he can handle it when you disagree with him.
Especially lately, he seems like he's gotten like mentally a bit better. I mean, obviously people are always want to be cynical and be like, oh, he's being such a whiny baby. It's like, well, he's a person. So if he is going through something and he's saying so, then I'm just going to take his word for it. But there definitely was like a certain time when he seemed to kind of like extra down and took things a bit heavier. But lately he definitely seems more like, listen, go to hell. All right. I'm not dealing with you. Like,
And whereas on the other side, you've got someone like Schreier who throws just as many stones as Colin would, right? Because again, Colin doesn't mind calling things out. It actually makes for entertaining content when you try to have a strong stance on something. And so, so Schreier would take a strong stance on something and report something, and maybe even only tell part of the story because it fits best with what he wants to already say. and maybe that's unfair. Maybe it is the whole story, but it doesn't always feel like it. But as soon as he's challenged, he's got doesn't even have thin skin. I feel like he's got no skin. Like he won't even engage in a conversation that doesn't agree with him.
He doesn't have any skin.
He's a skinless man. And that's just a bummer because I feel like someone in that position who's got that big of an audience should be able to dialogue back and forth, answer tough questions, dig into the other side, tell both sides. It's like be an actual journalist, not an op-ed writer who's posing as one. And so I don't know.
That's
to
hard
me, he
do
fits.
on Twitter, anyways.
It's hard to do on Twitter. I think he fits in with all the quote unquote mainstream journalists in the general public field and political field. He kind of fits right in with all of them, where you've already got a narrative. I'm only going to tell the stories and focus on the stories that already align with me. And so anyway, it's a bummer, but it is also entertaining. So go check it out if you want.
It is.
But listen, Derek's asleep, and it's time for us also to go to sleep. I'm actually going to go play a little more Returnal.
Play video games, Tim. What are you talking about?
Play a little bit. It's a weekend.
That's right.
But
I'm a grown-ass man. I play video games
right.
on the weekend.
But thank you for staying up and for paying attention. Appreciate that. Thank you all who are listening or watching. We appreciate you guys. If you do have a moment to give us a rating or review, if you're still listening, give us a review or rating. It does help. Or just share the show with friends. It also helps.
I was going to say, especially on YouTube, because like we're not at 100 subs, and I know Tim has wanted that for a while, so we can actually say like youtube.com/current gen as opposed to youtube.com/16x2WZ12.
Nier Replicant version FML. So yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great if you guys could help us out. But if not, that's fine too. It's not like not desperate to have the biggest audience ever. It'd just be nice to take that next step.
No, Tim, you don't take no for an answer. If you don't subscribe to this fucking show, I swear to God, I will murder you and your entire family. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, I'm gonna block you now. That was offensive.
Whoops.
All right, guys, thanks for listening.
You didn't warn me in the beginning of the Skype call, so.
Oh, you're right. I didn't.
No,
well, you still offended me, so blocked forever.
Okay. Okay.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. We're out. Peace. Wait, did it not go? Did it not go? Is it still recording?
You didn't block. You didn't Schreier me at all.
It's not stopping.
You didn't Schreier me at all.
Can you stop it?
I could back out of the call.
I guess we just gotta hang up. All right. Well, I'll see you later.
Hopefully it saves. I mean, that would be a problem.
We'll find out. Bye.
Yeah, bye.